Hey, film friends, I'm Nick Furman. This is Furman on Film. And we are a podcast where we break down movies, sometimes with special guests. Like today, I have, back by popular demand, a a wunderkind of the cinephilia, who Mr. Jason Tripp, who you guys have seen before, but as will become very clear in the course of this episode, when you're doing a South Korean film, you just have to turn to Mr. Tripp. You have to bring him back.
There was no other choice,
There,
right?
that's right. Ah,
It's just right there. You just teed it up for me.
bump
Thanks.
said Spike. Yes, Jason, welcome back, man. Thanks for coming on. So
Yeah.
a little background. I am frantically trying to get through these movies. You know, we're into February now. The Arctic temps may be lifting in the Northeast. And
No sympathy from me. I
not
can't see over my snowbanks right now.
yeah, dude. I know. I feel like I've been you the last couple of months. But anyway, and so I'm scrambling to get these movies done, which you've Tripp's already watched them at least three times, most of them, and
I've only seen this one once, so
yeah,
we're on the
yeah.
same page here.
Woo. And so I finally got to know the choice last night. I frantically took some notes. I had a bunch of thoughts, and then I was like, you know what? This would be fun in dialogue because Park Chan Wook is nothing if not a inciter of thoughts, deep thoughts and reflections. So I
How,
brought
how
John
much how
in.
much drool was on your notes?
Yeah,
Because
exactly.
in our chat, you're like you're just fawning over the female lead of this
Yes.
film.
Okay. So that is
We'll
one
get there.
thing.
We'll
We're going
get
to
there.
talk about that. Yes. I was also fawning over his cinematography and execution and editing. Like,
That's what I was drooling over in the theater. Like,
yeah.
boom.
So, it's time. Okay. This is Park Chan Wook's No Other Choice. Okay, man. So hit me with it. Like, what were your initial first thoughts, first impressions, like things like the one or two takes you got to get off your chest? I mean, we'll have plenty of time to dive into it, but how did this one strike you? How'd you feel about it? Where'd you see it? All of it.
Yeah, so I have like mad respect for this filmmaker. Like we're getting pretty close to Mount Rushmore territory with this guy. Like
Oh
one of my
yeah.
favorite living filmmakers. Like no one's doing it like Park Chan Wook. As you mentioned, like Korean cinema has a special place in my heart. I lived in South Korea for a couple of years and just fell in love with cinema from that part of the world. And so I have a long relationship with him. So I'm going into every film of his excited and the bar is really high. So part of me is like, oh, the bar is way up here. Don't disappoint me. Don't disappoint me. Because I loved his last film, Decision to Leave. I've heard there haven't been a movie of his I haven't liked. And this one, it held up for the most part. I don't think it's a perfect movie. It's not my favorite movie from him, but this is a wild ride. And I think this is probably his most, I was telling you this off camera, I think this is his most accessible film, maybe.
Yeah.
I think that's why it's doing so well commercially. It's doing pretty well in theaters right now. So if anyone's listening and they're not familiar with Park Chan Wook, or maybe you've watched one or two of his others and couldn't get into it, like this is a good time to give him another look because this is a wild mashup genre, and
There
it
is.
works
Yeah.
for the most part. And it's it's some social commentary embedded. Like he's going
Yep.
pretty hard with some dark satire here, just poking hole. I mean, this is the whole year of late stage capital cinema, and this is one of
Right.
the feature movies. I think a lot of them are. Yeah.
Bumbling idiot male protagonists in late stage capitalistic blunders and stress. Yeah. We've been doing that.
Yeah. Yeah. I got this poster over my shoulder here, but I'm actually looking across it. I'm in the local independent cinema here where this movie is dropping tomorrow. So shout
Woo!
out anybody listening from Sudbury, Ontario.
There it
Get to the
is.
Sudbury Indie Co-op. But I'm actually looking at Timothy Chalamet on the Marty Supreme poster across the way too, speaking of bumbling idiots.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Marty,
So
battle. Yeah, we got it, man. There's a
yeah,
lot of it.
yeah. But maybe let's get into the plot, like without
Yeah.
spoilers. Give the
Yeah.
contour, the lay of land for those listening. Maybe don't want to spoil it just yet, but basically the premise is, a man. The opening scene, we see this guy with the model nuclear family there. They got a nice house, and the house is like not crazy like the house in Parasite. I do want to kind of juxtapose this film with Parasite if we can a little bit as we go.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
think there's
That's a
some good
good.
comps there.
Yeah, I agree.
But from our culture, we might look and say, okay, it's a decent average house, whatever. I got a house that's just that size more. But when I lived in Korea, like you got more people living in Korea than in Canada on this tiny peninsula. So everybody's living on top of each other. So it's very rare to own a home at all. So this guy's not rich by any standard, but he's middle class, doing well enough that he can own his own home. So that's important.
I
Like
think
he's
so
pretty
too.
stable, happy with his family life. So anything that would alter his view of this perfect little world is going to affect him. And boy, does it affect him.
Yeah. Yeah,
Because
that's
there's,
what.
and then in the
Yeah, go
second
ahead.
scene, maybe I'll tee you up, right? So we start with this nice little family, daughter's playing cello, wife's, playing tennis, doing her thing, they're all happy together, happy doing their own thing. And then there's a disruptive event early on that happens, and I'll pass it to you. You can break that down a bit.
Yeah, man. I mean, he loses his job. That's really it. He's been a 25-year worker at a paper company, with all of the pros and cons that entails, you know. He's uh a cog in the machine, but he also values his place, and he's kind of middle management. And all of a sudden he finds out that he's gonna he's out. He's out. He got sent some what we thought it was expensive eel, I think, in that opening sequence. And
Yeah. Can I share a little story about that?
yeah, 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 please
So
do.
when I lived in South Korea and the little like church community got connected with, I remember someone telling me a similar story that they were getting laid off basically from their job and they were given a gift. Like you were given, usually, I'm like, usually in our culture, when you get a gift, you're getting a promotion. You're not getting fired. But that's sort of culturally, that's what it is, right? They
Yeah, yeah,
give
yeah.
you kind of something flattering, but at the same time, it's like, yeah, here's a nice eel, enjoy because you're fired.
You're out. Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
which is
severance.
wild.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's crazy. Yeah, and so he bumps around some grunt jobs for a minute, and he decides I'm going to try and get back into this world. And it's the journey of a man who's trying to do anything he can to maintain his lifestyle, to keep that
Right.
nuclear family and that house that was his childhood home for there. And he decides he needs to get back to into that old paper world, and then he makes the choice, although he feels he had no other choice, to go to pretty insane lengths to eliminate his competition. That's the plot, man. And it's both, as we'll talk about, pretty broad and also really serpentine and crazy in like your Park Chan Wook kind of way.
Yeah.
So,
And we
um,
should say this is an adapted screenplay. This is not his original material. This is
that's
based
right.
on a book called The Axe.
The axe.
There's been a French film called The Axe. This is the second film adaptation of that book. But I think Park rightly saw some of the themes in the book that translate well to Korean culture, like the patriarchal society, the honor shame culture, the desire to hold on to your status tied to your employment, huge in that culture.
Yeah.
So it translates very well to his environment. So I think it's a perfect choice for an adaptation.
Yeah, nailed it. And because he even says there's one little tease in that when he says like getting laid off is like getting your head chopped off. I think that's like the actual Korean idiom, right? So
Exactly.
yeah.
Yeah.
So
It's
it's like
it's
it's a little
it's
on the
not
nose, but it's
it's not a
actually
minor nuisance. It's an
right,
earthquake event. Yeah.
right, right.
Yeah.
So I mean, that's kind of like that starts to get us into themes, I think, is, if I have the perfect house, if I have the perfect family, I'll be okay. I'll be happy. And
Mhm.
that's, you know, we long for movies that start with Once Upon a Time and end with Happily Ever After, but this movie starts with Happily Ever After and then unwinds or
Flips the
unfolds.
script.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and I think I mean, we don't need to get too well. I'm sure the capitalistic critique will come out, but one of the things is that like we live in a society now where things can be taken away at a moment's notice. It's sort of the dark side of capitalism. And in this one, it's all about job loss due to AI automation, workers as pawns. I mean, hell, you sent me a clip of Fritz Lang's Metropolis a couple weeks ago, and I mean, it's all there, man. Like it's been there since
Absolutely.
1920, So yeah, I didn't want to interrupt, but
That's why we're calling it late stage capitalism. It's been around for a while,
yeah,
right?
yeah, good point. Yeah,
It's
well,
crumbling in its current state form, certainly. Yeah.
yeah,
And what I love about this film, as a conversation partner, not to smuggle in too much Parasite, but with that masterpiece film, there's
Mhm.
this great inequality gap. Like clearly rich and poor. Here, it's middle income versus middle income, and everybody's shuffling to try and stay in that little box, right? So I find it fascinating that, he's not. It's not trying to. It's not an eat the rich movie. It's just I just
No,
want to hold on to what I have and take out the competition on my level or close to my level. So he's got no other choice in his mind. But the corporation in their sort of cold, calculated corporate world, they have no other choice. This is just how the game works. We got to
right.
downsize. We got to keep our shareholders happy. So if AI can come in and take some jobs, sorry, you're the collateral
Yeah.
damage, right?
Right. Yeah, no, that's really well said. And I think actually like the satire in this film is pretty broad, which for better or worse, but actually what you said makes it more incisive, which is to say that like he's doing the links to which he goes is not so he can be, it's not Wolf of Wall Street. Like he's doing
No.
it so he can just be like a middle management guy, like an upper like maybe upper middle class, like tipping that way, but
Yeah.
um
He's just happy to stay in his job for the rest of his life. 25 years, give me 10, 15 more. I'm good.
Yeah,
Right? Yeah.
which is, I
Yeah.
mean, I think if maybe some of that gets lost in translation, but you assume that if someone's doing this, that they're really like they're gonna just make it, and it's not. I mean, it's like, can we afford cello lessons and a tele and a freaking great joke? Can we afford a Netflix account? The Netflix
Yeah.
bomb in
Yeah.
this movie so freaking funny.
Well, Park Chan Wook does amazing with technology. He's always got great use of
Yeah,
cell phones and
yeah,
devices, and yeah, does
yeah.
it again here.
Yeah, so and I also think, I mean, the paper company itself is significant, speaking of screens, because that it's paper and not anything else. I mean, not only are
Becoming obsolete.
yeah,
Yeah.
like we're moving to screens, we're moving to AI, and so I think all that makes sense. I mean, while we're on the job thing, just a real brief, like
This
uh
is personal for you, right? I
yeah,
mean,
man,
yeah.
like and it's funny because I watched it and I just kind of watched it and I told you like I reflected after, but I didn't think about I didn't really think about like I didn't personally reflect, but the more I started thinking about it, I was like, man, because I lost my job this year. Like I left a job I was doing for a very long time, working with kids, and I got back into this new world, which I thought was awesome, and I was really enjoying it and growing, and it was one of those where I could like see a future. And then all of a sudden on a Friday afternoon, I got a Zoom, and it was kind of like we had no other choice. We're it's like a corporate downsize and corporate headcount reduction was the phrase I got. And it was not due to performance, but it was just like that was it. And it's like I too now am doing grunt work alongside some contracting work to try and get back into the former world. Now, I haven't
Yeah,
thought
man.
about violence, but it was
Okay, that's good.
it was a bit like looking in the mirror, man, doing this. So yeah.
Did you at least get a nice parting gift?
No
No,
eel. Maybe some
no eel,
severance,
eh?
but no eel. Yeah.
Yeah, well, you'd probably take the severance over the eel
That's
anyway, right?
true.
Yeah, yeah,
I'd probably go a little further. But yeah, man, so I would say like it's the capitalistic critique is there for sure, but it's not to me this I don't know how you feel, man, but it's kind of background. Like to me the film, the ultimate theme of the film is really about like lifestyle creep, like it's about maintaining where we got to. We didn't know it. But
yeah.
again, it's like where they got to is not it's not the parasite like upper crust lower crust stuff. It's just kind of middle of the road. So, um yeah, I don't know, man.
Which is great because there's a lot of movies that are like Parasite. They're very the extreme, and we need those movies.
Yeah.
But a lot of us are stuck in the mushy middle, so to speak. Like we're both, sort of
Yep.
middle class, right? And yet
Right.
in today's capitalism world, there is that push, that squeeze, right? The middle
Mhm.
class are really getting squeezed. So this is a very, although it's bonkers in the plot how it unravels. I mean, thematically, it's very relevant. A lot of people like yourself can relate to this, right?
Right.
Uh, Without the violence and the craziness, right? But this is a reality. So there's something here in this film, and yet with Park's films. there are two types of films. Like when I watch a Terrence Malick film, I gotta throw my guy Malick in every conversation,
Malik.
right? That's like an existential film. Like I'm immersed, I'm feeling the emotions. When I watch like Hitchcock's a good comfort park. I think Hitchcock's a main inspiration for him. That's
Yep.
not necessarily as existential. That's more, I call it evaluative. I'm almost like it's almost like voyeurism, where we have a window into the world of that's happening, and we can evaluate the choices of what's happening
Right.
versus being immersed and experiencing it with them. And I love both types of those films. And Park, like Hitchcock, is sort of the latter. So
Yeah, that's
lifestyle creep is a good way to describe this film for sure.
yeah. No, that's well said. I think yeah, I think he is just doing Hitchcock kind of uncorked to like I mean when we were doing De
Yeah,
Palma and we were talking about De Palma, we were talking about this idea that there's real like perversion and there's real salaciousness and stuff in Hitchcock's films that you can miss because of the Hays Code and because of all this other stuff. Like it's stuff that he could not put on screen at the time.
right.
And then De Palma's just like, I'm gonna make Body Double and blood and just do it in the 80s.
And
And,
and Park's doing similar, right?
oh
Like
yeah, dude. I
this
mean,
guy's like a mad genius. Like part of me is like, wow, you're a genius. Part of me is like, man, you're what's going on in your mind, man? You're a
yeah.
bit twisted.
Yeah, and it's like, but if you're like, hey, that this wasn't that gross, it's like, fine, go back and watch Old Boy and The Handmaiden and then check in with me. Like these movies are, they're going for it, man. I feel like you cannot accuse him of not swinging for the fences. So
Oh, he's swinging hard. And
yeah,
then this one's more accessible, but not because he's holding back, but it's not as extreme. I don't think there's as much extreme violence in this because it's comical. This is his funniest film, I think, by far.
yeah, I'm glad you brought
I
that up.
laugh so much, which is weird because I'm laughing like literally I'm finished laughing at one scene like, oh, that's dark. And then I'm laughing again. I'm like, oh, that's
Uh,
dark. So literally my experience was
right.
this shift. Why am I laughing at this? I can't stop laughing at this. I think that's what he wants, right?
Yeah, man. It has to be blackly comic or else it's just like dark as it's like ebony, man. It's like
Oh yeah.
so it's
Yeah.
just too
Yeah.
dark if not. But yeah, I'm glad you mentioned that too. Is like and I think that's part of what you mean when you talk about accessibility too, is like
Sure.
there are thriller elements here and stuff that you're like, you know, we don't always want to do bad things, but we don't mind watching people make stupid decisions that we can then reflect on, right? So
Hmm.
so yeah, two other real brief themes, and then let's talk craft because I think we need to talk craft for sure
Cool.
with this
Yeah,
guy.
absolutely.
You mentioned it at the top, man, but how much of our value, I mean, this is something I've wrestled with this year, like how much of your value and your self-worth is tied to our work. It's tied to what we
Absolutely.
do, and particularly the idea in this film, it plays really hard. I'll just spoil this, but like the wife character is my favorite character in the whole film. Not just because she is a 10 out of
Shocking.
10 gorgeous, but she's also she's like everything is balanced on like the head of a pin through her character. Like as she's discovering what's going on, will she like lean in with him or lean away? Will she cover for him? How does she handle the family and the kids and the dogs? How does she handle her own hot guy at the dentist that she now works for? Like there's just all this stuff
Yeah.
going on. But I think you're supposed to pick up. I think part of the reason she's so good is because you're supposed to pick up on his loss of feeling sense of loss of autonomy as like a male provider for her, right? Like, isn't that in there? I mean, I
Oh,
sense
very
it.
much the patriarchy of the society. Like that's not foreign to us, but that's even more accentuated in the Korean culture. So that's that plate of I'm the male, I need to be the provider, right? I need to bring home the bacon, so to speak, right?
Yeah.
I need to make sure I have it all together. So and that's when he's going to the therapy sessions, right? He's just like when you tapping the
Yes.
forehead there,
Yes.
whatever.
Oh my gosh, it's another like that stuff is
Yeah,
hilarious too.
yeah,
It's just
yeah.
yeah, just gobbledygook like male like psychologizing, but in the funniest way possible,
But
right?
that's not too hyperbolic. That stuff actually happens in Korea.
Really? Wow.
Yeah, it's wild.
Yeah, I was
It's
wondering,
wild.
like, is there anything about how they would view this? I don't want to make it an us and them, but like how
No.
that we would miss, or I mean, it's interesting to hear you say that it's even like it would be just as pointed, at least in terms of like the male critique, if not more so, it sounds like. Yeah.
Yeah, I think even more so for sure. And that whole wrapping up of your identity with your job. Like I taught English as a second language in South Korea. And I remember the first week of teaching, I'm with kids like younger than yours. They're like, 6 years old maybe. And we're just doing basic, like, let's learn the alphabet, basic dialogue. What do you want to be when you grow up? And every one of them without flinching said, I'm going to be a doctor, I'm going to be a lawyer, I'm going to go to
Mhm.
Harvard, I'm going to go to Princeton. Well, where are they
Yeah.
getting those ideas? They're 6 years old, right? So
Right, right.
much pressure from the top down. Like, you are only as successful as the job you have where you go to school. There's so much competition there for work and to get into the best schools. And so to see the competition at play in this satirical film, yeah, it's off the wall, it's over the top, but it's grounded in reality.
Man, that's
It's
good.
wild,
I'm glad you're here to share that because that's cool. It
wild.
makes it even richer.
And
Uh,
I'd see kids playing outside at like 11 at night. 11 at night, that's finally they're able to play because they've gone to their regular school, then their English school, their piano school, their art school, their math school. Someone would go to 6 or 7 different private schools or lessons. And then 11 o'clock at night, they got a little bit of playtime when it's dark before bed. It's just
well,
wild, man. These poor kids, man. Yeah.
yeah, that reflects off. That makes me think of well, certainly Parasite. I mean, really,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
And do you
So
remember that? Was it Lee Chang? The Burning? Who made Burning? Was it Lee Chang Dong? I'm trying
Lee
to remember.
Chang-dong. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like same thing, right? Like he's at least appearing like this upper crust guy. Oh wow,
Hmm.
that's crazy.
Yeah.
South Korean cinema, guys, you should check it out. It's freaking awesome. So, okay, one last thing about theme. The whole "No Other Choice" as a refrain is silly, and it's played for laughs, but it's also kind of meaningful because
Oh, yeah.
it's used as this repeating for refrain, but every time it's said like acerbically, like it's sardonic. It's yeah, he has this speech prepared. He's going to tell the American businessman that bought out his paper company, and all you hear is the only thing you hear in English all film is the American guy walking by going, "There was no other choice,
No other choice.
no other
Yep. There it
choice."
is.
And
Yep.
then, it's like, why did he make these actions? I had no other choice. And it's like, why did these other guys try to get, no other choice? And so it's not true. Like, of course, you don't need to do what this guy's doing. God, I hope not. But in a world that just kind of grinds you down, a system that it kind of turns you into an automaton, you feel
Right.
like you lose that loss of freedom and autonomy. So,
And you lose compassion and empathy for anyone else outside of your lane, so to speak. I think that's the dark underbelly of capitalism is there's no other choice because I'm just looking through my lens. I'm the corporate boss here. I'm seeing is this. I'm not empathetic to your situation. Much like him, he's just seeing himself and his family at the expense of others. I mean, he's
right.
freaking trying to kill his competition here, right? Absolutely no compassion or empathy. I just got to maintain and hold on to me and mine. And
Yeah.
so in their minds, there really is no other choice. As chaotic as that sounds and insane to us, that's capitalism on steroids, right?
Yeah. No, that's well said. Um, so okay, here we are. Let's talk below the line. Oh my God.
Yes.
I mean, look,
Yes.
if you're new to Park Chan Wook, this guy will do things with the camera and editing and cinematography that will literally blow your mind. Like I regret that I did not see this in the theater. I don't
Yeah.
often regret that. I'm willing to do a lot of home viewing, but this one, I don't know, man. Tell me, like, I wrote down some of mine I'll go into, but like, do you have a three or four of your favorite shots or sequences in this film? Like, and if
The
not,
whole ex
yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, it's fresher for you. You just saw it last night. I saw this in
Right,
September. There's still,
right, right.
but I remember like leaning forward in my seat and looking at the guy next to me. He's a big Park fan as well, a good buddy of mine. Shout out Andrew. And we looked at each other a couple times and we just laughed and smiled and said like. Nobody's doing it like Park.
Dude,
Like
it's
I've
so
never seen this before, and I rarely like we've seen a lot of films. It's rare for me to say I've never seen that before, but it
right.
seems like every Park film. And this happened with Decision to Leave too. His last
Yeah.
film, like I've
Yes.
never seen this technique before. Like and part of me is like, are you just showing off at this point? But part of it's like some of thematically it fits with the narrative too,
Yeah.
right? So
It's a
the
little
scene
of
with
each,
the
honestly.
tooth extraction where he's drinking there
Yeah.
with
Yes.
some of that stuff, the shots in the glass,
That's
the whole extended scene where he's in the house with the couple,
yes.
the oven mitt and the music's blaring, like just the cutting and the editing and the music, like it's just
Both
ridiculous. It's just
both of those sequences are extended sequences, which are incredible. Like when
yeah,
they're blasting this like super famous Korean song. I'm sorry, I don't have it
yeah,
on hand, but it's like you can't even hear them and and then they're talking over it, and yeah, he's like oven mitt over guns. He's pulling off oven mitts, and then they're wrestling on the. It's so good, man. And then yeah, like you said, I've never seen a shot from the bottom of like an Irish car bomb as he's taking
Amazing
the glass,
as he's drinking
and then you
it.
watch the glass, and then you see his face. It's just
And a
sick.
close up of his mouth. He's got this toothache the whole
Yeah,
movie too. As he's
yeah.
extracting his tooth, it's just like you're right in his
Another
mouth.
not so subtle metaphor, but yes, go ahead. Like,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. No, a lot of it's on the nose, but I'm here for it.
yeah, and you're right. I mean, they do some really cool phone things in Decision to Leave, and they bring it back here where there's a part where he's talking to his wife, and she pops on screen too, and they're like mirrored, but back to. It's just like, dude, this is
And
impossible, man. Like,
yeah, and the wipes and cuts and
yes.
dissolves between scenes is pretty incredible as well. Like, yeah, you have to see it. We're not doing it justice just by talking about it, but in the
Well,
moment,
there's
it's pretty
my
special.
very favorite, and then I'll shut up about this. Is I mean, yeah, like you mentioned, cross dissolves and stuff that would be like, it looks like the kind of thing like you were just learning how to use like Adobe Premiere, you'd put in, and then people would be like, "What an ass! Like, why did you do that?" But he's so good at it. It's the wife goes outside, she's like looking under this tree for something, which we won't spoil. So the house is like on the left side of the frame, and then it the image, like almost the outline of the house, becomes kindling in a fire of him as he's out with this guy. It's
Yeah.
just sick, man. I'm like, it's like even the shapes of images he matches.
Yeah.
And then the score kind of fits it too. Like the score has, there's like normal score stuff, like orchestral stuff, but then there's like, it's not diegetic sound, but it's like blinks and bloops and like it's matching the tension. And then there's like these big dance numbers. There's a dance sequence, which is really good.
Yeah, like a costume party dance
Yeah.
sequence. That's amazing. Yeah. So that song in the house, I just looked it up.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
I listened to an interview with Park, and I guess that's a famous song. But
Yeah.
the name of the song is, I think it's called Red Pepper Dragonfly. And so Red Pepper, the name Red Pepper plays in the film. So it's kind of a
Oh, that's
pun on
right.
some of the
Okay.
plot. Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't want to spoil all the details there, but this artist, I guess, in Korea is nicknamed the King of Singers in South Korea. So the music just blaring in that scene, and he uses that to play off some of the other thematic elements of the film. I think it's
Ah,
just brilliant.
so good. And I look, I'm not, I just wrote the wife is incredible in all caps. Yeah, but I already said my piece on that. I think she's
And
my,
she's more than just good looking. Like
no, that's
she's
what I mean.
a
Like,
great performance too, right? Yeah.
yeah, in fact, she's like, in terms of looks, she's like, she looks like a wife. She looks like it's like girl next door, but it's everything she does is also just like super arresting, both visually, but also like all that she's balancing. I think it's my
Yeah.
favorite supporting performance of the year, maybe. I'd have to really think about it, but it's way up there. All right. Other side of the
That's
coin.
yeah.
You got a few, I'm
Yeah. Yeah.
sure.
There's a few, but that's it's in the conversation for
I
sure.
think our favorite male performance and favorite female performance of the year are the same, you and I's.
Are we spoiling that right now, or is that another
We
video?
can if you want to, but that will be
Okay,
part
how about on three? We'll say the female, okay? One, two, three, Rose
Rose
Byrne.
Byrne, yes.
One, two, three,
Ethan
Ethan
Hawke.
Hawke. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, there we go. Nice.
That's Blue Moon and If I Had Legs, I'd Kick You, both of which you should see. And we'll be showing up in our year-end video soon, I'm sure, with our friends.
Certainly will.
Yeah. All right, cons, man. So, what do you got? You got any cons for me? Things that
Yeah, I
you
think I'm probably a little higher on this one than you,
slightly.
but when I saw this again, I'm gonna watch it again. But I remember in the theater loving it. But I think like, what's the running time on this? This is well over 2 hours, right? Like two and a half or
220.
so.
Yeah.
Yeah, it didn't quite need to be that long. And this is
Right.
usually your critique.
I know,
I
dude. You're like
think,
taking my thunder. I
yeah.
love it. I love it.
So this is like the opening act. Like I appreciate he's trying to give us a glimpse into the family life, but I think that was a little too protracted.
Yes.
It was a little too overdrawn. But by the time he starts making his plan, the no other choice plan, it
Right.
just sings and hums from there. So, and maybe I don't know, maybe I wasn't in the right headspace when I went into it, but it was a little the pacing in the first act was a little bit off for me. The
Hmm.
runway was a little too long to get moving in the film because Park's films are. I don't go to a Park film to have this. We had a friend of ours who makes a valid critique. Like I felt a little distant from the characters. I think Park was trying to maybe get us a little less distant from the characters, but that's not his jam. That's not his thing, right? So
Yeah.
just do your thing, man. Yeah. So that would be my. It's a minor quibble. But at the same time, I appreciate getting to know the family because the family dynamics are important. He circles back to that at the end of the film. But I just felt there could have been maybe 10, 15 minutes shaved off the first sort of 45 minutes of the film. And I
Yeah.
wouldn't have lost anything.
Right. I think you could have lost, honestly, I'll go further. I think you could have lost 10 minutes in the beginning and 5 minutes in both of the second and third acts, honestly. Like, and still had
Sure.
the same movie. And the reason is, let me just a brief rant. Well, first of all, look, to me, this is an old boy. It's not Handmaiden. I don't even know if it's as good as Decision to Leave, but that's like saying, why isn't Rubber Soul, Abbey Road? Like, it's not fair. It's a great film. So
Right.
I think comparing it to that is bad. But, um, all that to say, he's done this like blackly comic, violent, frightening, humorous in a stew kind of thing before, and better, I think. But I think your accessibility piece is true. His films have been almost able to be grasped more and more because, like, I think it's been a sliding scale. Decision, and now this, I think even more so. But I think when people talk about distance from characters, usually the question is like, who am I rooting for? Like, do I actually care about this guy? Is he even a protagonist? Is he an antagonist? Um, but again, like in the Hitchcock films, I'm not talking about like Cary Grant's, like stentorian presence in North by Northwest, but like many of the Hitchcock films, these people are dastardly. They're making like
Yeah,
crazy
absolutely.
decisions and, they're doing bad things, right? They're doing immoral things because that becomes the engine of the conflict, which makes the plot go. So,
Yeah.
but where I think the issue, my biggest issue with this film is it's about runtime, but here's the reason why is that the satire in this movie is extremely broad. Like, in my opinion, because honestly, it's, hey, corporations are tough for Joe Schmo regular guys. Like, that's basically it. So it's tough. It's tough out there, guys. And like that's kind of the message. And there's all these camera pyrotechnics, serpentine plot mechanics that sort of obscure the fact that the story itself is exceedingly simple and not really, I guess, saying anything new. I don't know that I totally believe this critique all the way, but I do think that it's okay to have broad characters when you're making broad satires. And when you're making broad satires, people aren't going to relate because they're going to be doing crazy things like killing people or, like things that are way over the top because that helps make the point. So, um,
Yeah. Can I push back a little on that?
yeah, I would love you to actually, because I
Yeah.
think this is the part that I'm kind of wrestling
And
with.
I agree in part that the film is like a critique of capitalism from the top down and the no
Right.
other choice from the corporate side. But I think that's one, there's other layers that go deeper that I think are what are more interesting to me, because that
Mhm.
alone has been done to death in many movies.
Right.
But I think this is more a film that goes deeper, goes beyond to, okay, yes, corporations, bad, they're
Corporations, man.
only corporate greed, bad,
Mhm.
right? Looking out for
Right.
themselves, the expense of the middleman. But it's also about the people who are working, like Mansu in this film, are protagonists, antagonists, whatever you want to call them, who have actually drank that Kool-Aid and they're
Mhm.
buying into my identity is tied to my job, my status. And so they're not wise to the reality of the corporate greed. They're a cog in the machine, but they think they're instrumental. And if that cog is taken out of the machine, what are they going to do with their life? So they've basically bought in to that mentality and their life unravels as a result of the corporate greed. So I think the
Okay.
domino effects of the decision at the start, where the American businessman says, "Well, we had no other choice." That's not the exciting part of the film for me. It's the domino effects of what happens to the characters who have, to some degree, drank that Kool-Aid and are sucked into that mentality that my identity is so tethered to my job and my house and my cello lessons for my daughter. That's when the movie gets very interesting and the lengths they will go to preserve that. The ridiculous lengths, and then the laughs come
Yeah.
along with it. But yeah. So I think
Right.
I think it's a simple film on the one hand, but there's some layers and nuance and depth that I really appreciate. That's what elevates this above some of the other films that are trying to do likewise. And the
Okay.
crazy stuff he's doing with the camera, of course, as we talked about. Yeah.
Right. So like the most unkind reading I think of this film would be that the cameras are obscuring the fact that it's simple, right? That like
Yeah.
we make it look like it's really like complicated and all this crazy stuff's going on just to tell the fact that there's not that much there. But um I think that's unfair. Like I think it goes too far. Uh However, I do think if you're gonna tell broad satire, you don't need to take 2 hours and 20 minutes because like you just
Yeah.
don't.
Yeah. And we
Um
agree on that. Yeah.
yeah.
That's my critique as well. Can we get into a bit of spoilers with the ending? Like
Yeah,
spoiler alert?
sure.
'Cause I think we got to talk about the ending because he friggin'
Spoiler
sticks the
alert.
landing here.
Yeah,
Spoiler
yeah, yeah,
alert.
yeah.
Um, So, he goes, takes out the competition, and at the very end, right, he's given this like promotion for all intents and purposes. He's basically running the factory. And the very last scene, he walks into the factory and he's the only one there because it's all automated, right? So,
Right.
which is interesting because, he's talked about, preserving, this is for the sake of my family. He's all about preserving relationships, but his relationships are getting strained and stretched and severed throughout the whole film. And then
Right.
it's at the end, it's like the punchline is, yeah, and here you are living the dream, a lonely person in an automated factory where, you know, and it leaves you to think about, well, what's the family situation going to be beyond this, right? Like,
Right.
yeah, your daughter's still taking cello lessons, but she nails the cello at the end, and he's not even there to see it. He's already gone to work, right? So everything he's working for, he's not even there to experience it because he's just a slave to the work and the job and climbing the
Yeah,
corporate
yeah.
ladder.
Which may speak to the nuance that you're talking about, that it's not just broad. Because
It's the relationships that suffer because of corporate greed and our identity being tethered to our work. We dupe ourselves
right,
into thinking, yeah, I'm working so hard for my family, but then you never have any time for your family, right?
right. Well, and it's hollow, right? Like he achieves,
Yeah.
he's happy, but
Or
what
is
is
he?
right? Well, I mean, he
He doesn't
doesn't.
look too happy in that last scene, though. He's
Yeah.
in the, it's
Remember, he
almost like,
cheers though, and then yeah, as it's like right. So, and I think
yeah, but
honest,
that
right.
cheer's going to die down in week 2 or 3
Well,
in that environment, I'm
that's
sure.
just it. That's just it, right? And I think even further than that, man, like the question becomes how long, if everything but you is now automated, how long until you're automated, right? Like, isn't that
Yep.
like not, isn't that kind of subtly implied in the ending too?
Absolutely. And then
Like,
it shows the actual stock footage of
right. Oh, what a shot.
forest. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. These
And they
these
asked,
automated machines like taking
yeah, and they
down
asked Park
forests.
Chan Wook, like, did he do that? And he's like, it was stock footage. Like, he literally
Yeah.
just ended his film with stock
Wild.
footage. How freaking
Wild.
ballsy is that, dude? Like, that's insane.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
insane, dude. He's like, I just grabbed it from like Nat Geo. Like, it's like, what? Oh my
Yeah.
gosh. Yeah,
Yeah.
okay. Well, no,
So
I appreciate you pointing that out because I think that makes sense. And is that like what elevates its slightly over decision to leave for you?
I don't know.
I mean,
Decision to
it's not
Leave is
fresh. It's
more cold and clinical. This
super
one
cool.
is obviously more laugh out loud, but I
Hmm.
think they're both playing with relationships that are getting strained and stretched because of the decisions in the
Yeah.
film. So whether it's a decision to leave or no other choice decision,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah.
Please.
So
So,
it's hard to compare. I
I mean,
To be
even
honest,
the
like
title names are broad. That's the thing.
yeah,
Like that's what
I'm
he's doing it on purpose.
the
But
further we get from Old Boy, the less
I
that
know.
movie is the movie for me.
I
So
know. I
like
know.
from Handmaiden forward, like I'm like, yeah, let's go. Like I respect the Vengeance trilogy, but I'm much more interested in what he's doing lately. I think
Yeah, I don't.
it's fascinating in the evolution of his filmmaking. Yeah.
The rest of the Vengeance films aren't as much for me, but I still think like and if anyone if you've not seen Old Boy, watch the opening sequence and the hammer sequence in the hallway and then the ending. Or watch the whole movie, but like those three sequences are come
Yeah.
on, man. Like
And
after you
with all due respect to Spike Lee, you don't have to watch the remake. Yeah.
yeah, please do not watch the remake. That is that's not good.
No,
Um
but this is a good one, man. It'll definitely be landing somewhere in my top 10 of the year. And I'm here for Park, man. Like if he keeps banging out movies like this. And maybe one day there'll be no other choice than to give this guy a freaking Oscar
yeah, so
nomination.
that's I mean,
Can we
yeah, let's
not
bring that
like
up.
can
Let's
this
end on
not
that.
like Like, come on, like, okay, maybe not best picture, although I would put it in best picture,
Right.
but not best director, not
No,
best cinematography, not even best international film. Is this
right.
not one of the best five international
Yeah,
films of
that's
the year? Like, that
out.
is bonkers to me.
That's
Yeah.
out. It's outrageous. I
Yeah.
mean, yeah, you can. I think it was a long shot for definitely director, but even picture, but the in cinematography too. Like we just love our American films, but the international thing is baffling to me. Like they just don't like him, right? Is that the idea?
Now it is a strong year for international films. I
Sure.
will give that,
We've
but
been saying that for a
I'm
while.
going to see Surat tomorrow, so the
Yeah,
jury's still on that
right.
and Secret Agent. But man, like this guy gets snubbed over and over. So
Right.
there's this amazing billboard. I'll send it to you. Maybe you can put it in. That's
Yeah,
in
yeah.
LA and all over, and it's basically this scene where he's holding up on the posters this big like flower pot because that's
Yeah,
a
let me see
pivotal
if I can
scene in
get
the
that up
movie,
here while you're
and
doing it.
then.
Yeah,
So
go
instead of for your consideration, it's
ahead.
basically F. Yeah, there's the picture there, but it's like F your consideration,
After your
and
consideration.
it says a snub above the rest. Yeah, it's great marketing by Neon. Yeah. So it's a great film. It's doing well in the box office, though. It's doing really well with critics and audiences. So it's playing widely. So now is the time to get out to see it. And don't be like Furman. Go see this in the cinema on the biggest screen possible.
If you
You
can.
will,
Yeah.
if you can. And for those in my neighborhood, come where I am right now, the Sudbury Indie Co-op, and check this film out.
Yes,
Sorry,
sir.
shameless plug there.
All
Had to
right,
throw
brother.
that.
I think I think we nailed it. I final thoughts. I think we got the final thoughts. What about a score for you? Do you have an FOF rating?
Yeah, I'm probably a little higher than you on this, but I'm going with a 4.3 out of
Okay,
5 for this film.
I love it.
So that's just making it to 4.5 on Letterbox.
Yeah. So mine will be 4 on Letterbox because I am right between like 4.1 and 4.2. I think I'm
We're
going.
splitting hairs. Yeah.
Yeah. I think I had decision to leave at 4.1, and the more I've thought about this one, like some of your talking, the things you said about the nuance, the ending is perfect in this one. Not that the ending in Decision to Leave is bad, but this one is little bit of a cut above. Um, they're both long. I will go 4.2. That's where I will go. I'm gonna give it that. I'm gonna give it the recency bias bump because I did super enjoy it.
And
So
I think this one will reward rewatches as well.
yeah,
I'm going to rewatch this week, and I'm excited to settle back in for it. So yeah,
there are moments where. Oh, and also we should say one more thing about Decision to Leave and this one in common is just stupid cops, like just moronic cops.
yeah,
He's like, you said he was killed. He's like, I didn't say killed. And then he's like, but anyway, man, just be careful out there. I'm like, what? How are you so bad at this? Like, is that like a common Korean? Like, do we have the Korean distrust of cops like Americans do? Is that?
yeah, a little bit. I don't know. I never had any close encounters with cops, sir. I was on my best behavior. So yeah, you're asking the wrong guy.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
don't know. It was, but anyway, he loves to send them up in a hilarious way. Well,
Yeah.
man, you got anything to plug real quick on our way out? Like, I know you had that was it Dice Camera Action, the podcast. We still rocking those from time to time.
Yeah. So I've had to step. I'm in a new job this year as well, so I've had to
Yep.
step back. But yeah, I'm still somewhat regularly here and there involved with that. So Dice Camera Action's a podcast that does a mashup. It does a board game review, and then we pick a movie with a thematic crossover and sort of dovetail it too. So if you're into the board game hobby and or films, check it out. Dice Camera Action. Matt Cousineau is the one that heads that up. He's a fan of this film as well, so you can go over there and you'll hear me once in a while. Lots of other stuff going on there as well. My channel's pretty dormant, TripAdvisor, but there's some stuff archived there. I did do a deep dive on Parasites. So if you want to, I mean,
Oh
everybody's done
yeah,
Parasite to death, but I'm pretty proud of my video on Parasites. So you can check that out at
yeah, and
Trip
I
Two
can.
P's Advisor. Yeah.
Yeah, 2 P's for TripAdvisor.
Yeah.
I can attest to how good that Parasite one is. What a film. And you send it up nicely.
Yeah.
And also, I'll just say, lastly, we've got in like less than a month here, we'll be doing our year-end best films of 2025 before the Oscars. I'm sure you'll probably hear this one again. So,
Sounds like 4.2, 4.3. That puts it in top 10 territory, I would
yeah,
guess.
I would guess
Yeah.
it's gonna make an appearance, and at least one of our other friends quite likes it as well. So, we can have our parkgasm together.
Parkasm,
That
like
doesn't
that.
quite.
Nice.
I'm working. I'm
That's
still
good.
workshopping it. So, all
Yeah.
right, guys. Well, thanks for tuning in. Please like, subscribe, leave us your comments. What did you think about this film? Did we miss anything? Were there themes or things that stood out to you or critiques? I'm always loving your feedback on the channel. Thank Jason for joining us and for the trip advisor himself. I'm Nick Furman. This is Furman on Film. Stay firm, my friends.